Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining this webinar today. My name is Erica, and I'm so happy to have all of you here today. During my time with Priority Matrix, I've been lucky enough to see how Priority Matrix can help everybody align their priorities. And with it being at the start of a brand new year, what better time to actually use Priority Matrix to set your goals? And not only that, but we want to help you use Priority Matrix to dominate the new year. During this presentation, that's exactly what we're going to be looking at, and I hope you can all take a little bit of value away from this presentation and really jump in and get started with Priority Matrix. So again, Happy New Year. I hope everybody was able to relax, enjoy the holidays, travel if that's something you are wanting to do. I know we're all back in the office, and for me, the new year is one of my very favorite times to set my goals, align my priorities with my teammates, and really start off with my best foot forward, looking into the new year and letting Priority Matrix help me plan everything that I need to get done immediately and also map out those long-term goals with my team as well. Before we get started, I want to help you understand what today's agenda looks like. So first and foremost, I want to help you all understand just kind of generally what is Priority Matrix so you know what to expect for the rest of the presentation. We're going to take a look at why should we get started with Priority Matrix today, how you can actually download Priority Matrix, a couple of tips and suggestions for how you'll be able to dominate the new year with Priority Matrix. And lastly, I'm actually going to do a live demo, and then we'll go over some of the most common questions that we typically get. So what is Priority Matrix? You can think of Priority Matrix as a project and task management software. However, it does a whole lot more than just that. So I don't really think that description gives it the justice that it deserves. However, it is a nice way to kind of bundle it up and, quickly explain what PM is. However, on top of project and task management, Priority Matrix is also an email management and meeting support tool as well as a tool that helps people with their automated processes. Kind of tying that back with the meeting and email support, all of that can actually be done by using Priority Matrix for that automated process. There's also a lot more that goes into the software and a whole lot more and other use cases that you can tie into it. However, this is just kind of a quick introduction as to what you can kind of start to think Priority Matrix is and how it will support you. So the question is, why are we all here today? And why should we actually get started with Priority Matrix today rather than wait or, revisit it in a couple of months? So the way that I like to think of this is it's a brand new year. What better time to kind of let those old priorities fade out and build stronger prioritization skills? This is a really popular time for personal and team growth. And in order to succeed either on your own or with a new team, it's really important to start with a great foundation. And getting a powerful project and task management tool in place can definitely be that foundation that a lot of people are looking for. This is also an incredible time, and it's really lucky for you all to be getting started with Priority Matrix right now because I'm personally really vamping up my webinars in January. I have 10 on the calendar already, and so you all are going to be offered more support than anybody else has ever gotten simply because of the wide variety of webinars that I'm hosting in the upcoming months. So this will absolutely support your adoption process and make it just that much easier to get started. So how do we actually get started with Priority Matrix? What you're going to need to do is download it for your Mac, your Windows. Those are your desktop applications. You can also download our mobile app for iPhone and Android. However, more popularly than using the desktop applications is people are commonly using the web application now as well, located simply at prioritymatrix.com. That web app can be used on your Mac, your Windows, and also your mobile device. Really importantly to understand as well, you can integrate Priority Matrix with your Microsoft Teams, your Outlook 365, and a lot of your other Office apps as well, and we'll definitely take a look at that today. All of these priority matrix applications are going to automatically sync, so you don't have to worry about an alignment across the different platforms or updating it in several places. We've got you covered on that. So again, like I said, over the past several years of spending my time with Priority Matrix, I've learned a lot about how people are really easily able to succeed with it and what works the best. On top of that, like we looked at, this is the brand new start of a new year, 2022. And what better time to really dominate a new system and get comfortable with it than this brand new year, setting your goals and aligning your priorities. So, a couple ways we're going to be able to help you really exceed this year is by creating one central space for your collaboration. Nothing kills context more than jumping between multiple spaces, and that's what we want to help you eliminate doing. We're going to help you have shorter and more effective meetings with our automated meeting processes. And we're also going to help you very easily prioritize your emails. With all this being said, Priority Matrix will help you spend time on what matters the most, allowing you to get more done, impress your manager, impress your bosses, and ultimately, hopefully get that raise that we're all hoping for in the new year. All right, with all that being said, let's actually take a look at the Priority Matrix application. For today's demo, we're actually going to be looking at Priority Matrix directly through the Teams integration. You definitely don't have to use it here. However, if your organization uses the Office environment, I would absolutely say go ahead and get started with PM for Teams. So looking at kind of the general layout of Priority Matrix, for all of you that are brand new, to help you understand a general layout of kind of what this system looks like. Priority Matrix is going to support you on a personal level and also a team collaboration level. You're able to either keep your projects private or you're able to actually share them with your teammates. A great example of this would be is when we're setting goals. I know for myself, typically around this time of the year, whether it's before the holidays or just right after, I like to use one of our pre-made templates here, the Smart Goals Priority Matrix template to really help me list out everything that I hope to get done and achieve this year. For a lot of people, this is something that they want to share with their team, share with their managers. I'm right there with you. That's typically what I like to do. But I also want you all to understand these projects can be kept private just for your own personal, task and project management. You don't have to share them with anybody else. Another general thing I want you all to understand is that if you do decide to go ahead and share these projects with your teammates, this is how it's actually going to become that central space where you're able to share the project. I'll go ahead and do that in a quick example here. We'll add a couple people to this project. And when you go ahead and do that, it's actually giving them total visibility and access into this project where we can now go in and we can actually delegate this task to somebody. We're able to communicate and we're able to set our deadlines. Anything under the sun that kind of falls under team collaboration, you're actually going to be able to do as soon as you share that project with your teammates. So that is, just a 2-minute introduction as to kind of how the system is going to work. But for today, thinking about getting started with Priority Matrix at the very start of this brand new year, I'm going to show you a couple of best practices and quick tricks to really help you succeed as you jump in here. So, when people typically get started with Priority Matrix, it's something that I've learned to understand is it can be really hard understanding where to begin. So, with that being said, I see a lot of people trying to integrate all of their projects, bring in all of their data, anything they've been working on for the past several years. And that can feel a little bit time consuming and honestly a little overwhelming. So, this first best practice that I would suggest is actually just bringing in maybe one, two, or maybe three projects to help you kind of get started and see how the system will work. One of those projects I always suggest doing is setting one up to track your top priority emails. I briefly opened this project and we'll take another look at it in just a minute. But that's something we can all relate to is needing better email management and needing that space to track our top priority emails. So go ahead and create that project simply for emails. Another project you may want to create, like we looked at before, is setting a place to track your goals. Whether you use our SMART goals template, you can integrate from our website, you can set something up brand new. But again, setting your goals is definitely a huge thing for people at the start of the year. And this is a great way to get familiar with Priority Matrix and let the system, kind of support you through the next several months or several years. On top of that, if you're looking for 3 projects, maybe as a manager, you kind of do the day plan template for managers, again, something you can integrate, a SWOT analysis to kind of help you, again, plan your activities and strategize. Again, what we want to do is really just focus on 1 to 3 major projects that you're working on, so you can focus on that and not spend too much time bringing in all of your old data. So that is going to be my quick tip number 1 is bring in a couple key projects and don't try to dump everything in right off the bat. Another thing that, we're definitely all aware of is that for managers, this is a really common time to start exploring growth for the team. Likely a new budget was just approved. It's time to scale up the team. And this can be considered a major project and that great fit for Priority Matrix, which is exactly why I brought in this template, just to let you all know that we have a lot of support for managers, different resources, and different templates to help you get started. So now that we've talked about bringing in a couple key projects, and how is it actually best to get started? So as I go ahead and I open up one of these projects here, we'll use the one that's looking at my top priority emails. In a project, we're going to have miscellaneous action items that are helping us keep track of the priorities and things we need to get done. Like we quickly looked at on the right-hand side, this is going to be where you set up all of your details. And I know that this can look like a lot, but I specifically want to bring your attention to the due date and the reminders. When you put a due date on one of your items, Priority Matrix through Teams and any other place you have PM added, you're going to be able to utilize this due date in so many different ways. Number 1, you're actually going to get a reminder when the due date and when your scheduled reminder actually occurs. So if you have both of these put on here, coming directly through the home view in Teams, you're definitely going to be notified. So between a reminder and a due date, you can pretty much rest assured you're not going to overlook this task. And if you have assigned this to somebody else, they're also not going to forget about it. So that would be my best to practice tip number 2. Whenever you create a task, make sure you throw on a due date and a reminder if you'd like kind of that second level of notifications. So kind of shifting gears, and again, hopefully this makes sense, kind of the general layout, but I want to take you all to the notification system that we have. So best practice number 3 would be starting your day with either looking at the alerts. The alerts are going to show you all updates from your teammates, due dates that have occurred, reminders that have occurred, anything that really needs your attention. Personally, this is where I start my day, and it really kind of helps me get on track, especially if you have teammates that are working remote or working in different time zones like we do. Very easy way to see all the updates from your teammates, again, in just one central location, so you don't have to jump from emails to meetings to phone calls, get them all right here. Kind of going hand in hand with that is where I actually start my day is in the agenda. What happens in the agenda is, if you remember, I said, make sure you set your due dates. The agenda view here is going to show you for the next 7 days, including today, everything that Priority Matrix sees as being due. So that's going to include meetings that you have scheduled through Teams, like I have this example today. For tomorrow, it looks like I have a couple emails I need to take care of. So as you can see, you're able to see your meetings, your emails, your priorities, and then circling back to the updates from your teammates, again, all in one place. So The way that I see this is, at least for me and for a lot of the companies that I work with, that's kind of what the day-to-day revolves around for a lot of people is what are my teammates working on and what do I have to get done? So between these two views, if you start your day there, you're really bound to be on track. So again, that is my big takeaway number 3. This is a very powerful place to start your day and start your year. So when it comes to changing habits, email management is definitely something to be aware of. A lot of people struggle with it. So from here on out, at least for the next 2 to 3 weeks, whenever you get an important email, try to prioritize it into priority matrix, which is exactly why right off the bat I said, let's create that space to track our most important emails. When you use the priority matrix integration for Outlook, you're pretty much immediately able to select that email and you can turn it into an action item either for yourself or to delegate to a teammate. So we'll use this as an example. I'm going to change the name and call this new task for webinar, just so we know exactly where to find it. So again, you can look through your projects, decide where you'd like to prioritize this email, put it in the correct quadrant representing the priority level. And like I was preaching before, you want to go ahead and set your due date. When you hit create action item and we go back to that project, we're actually going to be able to see that email that we just integrated. So again, we know for sure we're not going to forget about this because we have our due date. And if it helps, we can actually throw on a reminder as well, just to have 2 layers of a heads up that, hey, we need to handle this email at this time. What you can also do is rather than creating a brand new task from this email is you can look through your similar ones. And if you need to, you can actually just attach this email to a pre-existing item, again, to keep everything super organized and linked together for all those similar emails and items. So my big takeaway number 4 is to change those email management habits. Don't put yourself through the same stress and difficulty that you had last year of having an unorganized, messy inbox. Get on top of it right away. And I can guarantee you, you will feel a difference. Your management, your teammates, and your clients are all going to appreciate and love the new email management style. Last but definitely not least would be best practice tip number 4, which is let priority matrix, or rather, I believe we might be at best practice tip number 5. Either way, I want you all to let priority matrix help you have more effective meetings. We all know that with the new year starting, there's a lot of meetings, a lot of updates for the new year, new things you need to discuss. Our calendars are likely slammed. And when you let priority matrix help you with your one-on-one meetings, you're really easily going to be able to see, number one, your shared priorities with your teammates, specifically one teammate in this case. And even better, you can actually create a new task. So let's just say set New Year's goals. And we'll say this is actually going to be due Friday at 8 a.m. We'll pick the shared project between Pablo and myself. And we'll say this is due now. And I'll set myself as the owner. So as you can see, whether it's setting new goals, working with new clients and filling new orders, whatever it looks like and whatever you discuss in these one-on-one meetings, you can very easily prioritize that item, get it on your calendar, make sure it's not slipping through the cracks, and you'll see it's automatically added to your shared priority list while you've actually put it into a project as well. So again, the one-on-one view is going to help you have more effective one-on-one meetings, also by showing you all of your shared emails, files, and upcoming calendar events. So, prior to Priority Matrix, I hear that people spend hours backtracking, trying to remember what they worked on, putting together manual reports. We're not doing this in the new year. Let Priority Matrix handle these meeting agendas for you. In addition to that, not only does Priority Matrix support you when it comes to one-on-one meetings, however, you can also use Priority Matrix for your team meetings as well. So for those managers who are scaling up, your team is growing, maybe you have a team for the first time. When you're scheduling these team meetings through Microsoft Teams, be sure to add the Agenda by Priority Matrix tab to those meetings. What's going to happen here is the system automatically generates a priority list for each person on this meeting who's using Priority Matrix. These are all live items here, so I can actually go in and I can check them off. I can create new items to add to my agenda, or I can view my bank of items that I'm already working on. Again, this is a great way to expedite your meetings. You don't have to spend time backtracking, trying to figure out what you've been working on. The system is going to do all the groundwork for you. When you actually join the meeting, this agenda will be available where you can continue to update and create new items as needed. So that big takeaway would be letting Priority Matrix help you have more effective one-on-one meetings and team meetings. So, after looking at all of this, it's no doubt that Priority Matrix will help you with email management, keep track of your priorities, and with your meetings. But where the challenges truly lie is building new habits. I can relate to that firsthand. I know a lot of us can. It's really easy to fall into our old ways. But the biggest thing we need to focus on is staying true to what we wanted to get done, work to improve those habits and ingrain them into our day to day until, it's just kind of second nature to look to Priority Matrix and use it for everything you're working on. So, what is our recap from this presentation? Number one, install Priority Matrix to the platforms of your choice. Don't be shy, install them in as many places as you need. Mentally prepare to change your habits for the better. Visualizing, positive self-talk, these are all things that are going to help you guys improve your habits and be able to drop the old ones that weren't supporting you. You want to pick out a few key projects like we looked at. Top priority emails, if you're a manager, scaling your team, analyzing and preparing for the upcoming projects. And I think all of us can relate to creating a project for those goals. Next up, you want to utilize the Priority Matrix resources that we're providing for you, whether it's a quick phone call, an email to myself or our support team, or most importantly, registering for all of my upcoming webinars in January and beyond. Those are the most powerful resources that we've ever been able to provide for our new and current customers. Lastly, we want to help you see your success skyrocket as you become more organized. Your team will notice, your managers are going to notice. Most importantly, you're going to feel more organized. You're going to be more successful, and everything will just be easier as it comes once you start using Priority Matrix as that central space for keeping track and collaborating on everything. So, what do some of our common questions look like? Can I test Priority Matrix with my team? Absolutely. We offer a free 14-day trial for you to get started, and you can also include your teammates, and this will give you access to everything in Priority Matrix. After that free 2-week trial ends, there's a couple different licensing options that can look like $5 per user per month, all the way up to more of an enterprise style license, which is actually more of a flat rate fee for a site-wide or a company-wide deployment. All of our licenses are done on an annual or multi-year contract, so just something to keep in mind as you explore those options. Does my IT need to approve Priority Matrix in the new year? This one is kind of a toss-up. Priority Matrix is Microsoft 365 certified, which means the Microsoft security team did audit our entire application. So on our side, we have the green light. We're actually good to go for the majority of companies. If for whatever reason you're having challenges installing PM for your Office apps, that's no problem. Your IT can approve it, and then you should be able to move forward from there. Something we quickly talked about, and a big concern from a lot of people is, can my company see my projects? And to kind of piggyback on top of that is, can affluence, can we, can the priority matrix team see your projects and your data? And the answer to all of that is going to be no. Your company can only see those projects when you intentionally share them with each other. And on our side, we are not able to see any of your data. So don't be scared off by those permissions when the Outlook integration asks you, hey, are we good to go to install this? We can't see your data. It's just simply to let you integrate with the system. And then another thing we quickly talked about was support and training. Again, I do have dozens of webinars coming up. Be sure to register for all of those. And for support for our enterprise and business licenses, we do offer one-on-one training or ongoing team training sessions as well. For everybody else, email support is going to be there. So across the board, we've got you covered. You're not going to be left hanging when you're getting up and running. We're here to help you and here to help you be successful. So, like I briefly mentioned, building a new habit is hard. I've been told that it takes 21 days to form a brand new habit. So, for those of you who can actually get started with your trial today, just shoot me an email and I'll personally extend your trial for 21 days to ensure that you can successfully adopt Priority Matrix in the new year. As I mentioned, be sure to tune in to our upcoming webinars. And be sure to explore the templates, which I will be happy to email to all of you right after this webinar is over. With all that being said, I hope that you are as pumped up as I am to completely dominate the new year, succeed as best as we all can, and let Priority Matrix do the hard stuff for you so you can focus on what matters and get more done. Thank you all for your time today. Happy New Year, and I cannot wait to connect with you and help you all get started and find your success with Priority Matrix.